Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. This report is for the 24th of September, and quite a day yesterday. Once we got over the 50%, it was institutional buyers. Love that. That's their beautiful setup. Dip to the 50%, they start buying that. As soon as it breaks above it, off to the races. Well in line with what we expected from our readings on the MBI indicator, as well as the crossover steel above cyan on the DOC and orange dipping below red. Those are all positives. Whether they'll be able to maintain the momentum of it, there's going to be some pressures now because we're starting to see other elements develop from oil, gold, and that will put pressure on the market. NQ, likewise, and typically even after a move like this, though, you would expect anywhere from a third to a 50% retrace into that setup. Gold from its standpoint, on that rally, everyone took their money out of it, and boom, because the Fed was suggesting that they're going to wait, but wait moving above MBI means could be a little bit more weakness for gold in that setup. Euro took a little bit of a pop back because it just suggests that they're just going to throw more money at the situation, which counters some of the extraordinarily bad numbers coming out of Europe as well, and Europe is just likely to spend less than the US, so it creates a little bit of an imbalance there. But this is the one that we were talking about, and as oil rises, the market's going to have to start preparing for that inflation. Now, you would think that that's a huge negative for the market, but in fact they've been bringing the market up with anticipation of inflation, because that inflates everything, including market in a lot of cases. Now, there's a tipping point where economic activity starts to fall off to a point where earnings in that are going to be impacted. You start to see the effect of that in California with huge unemployment increase, and if that starts spreading, then that'll be interesting going into the end of the year, because while the market anticipates huge inflows of new money from the Fed, it's still, you got to have customers. From a Bitcoin standpoint, easy call on that rally setup going there. We had this spike coming through, and then right as the MBI crossed, when magenta and yellow dipped below the 33, that's an expression of weakness. Once it crossed above orange, though, that signaled that you were going to make a decent move to the downside on it. So here's what the intraday looked like. All of it started off with just positive extremes. So we just started marking them, just going with the buy configurations as they set up. The little magenta dot is that cross of the white above orange on the MBI right here, and usually look for about a 6-point move roughly. Went up a little bit, but in fact did fill that one right in there. And then we started our rally moving forward, and then late in the day started to get the spike of white. Now in this case, though, you've already started with rising 0%, so you're not going to get a full value return to the zero because it's going to be at a much higher level. And in fact, when it hits right over here, at a much loftier position, we kind of marked it because it wasn't easy. Well, it wasn't hard to find this one as we started to decay. White crossed above and continued once we got the orange, and I pointed that one out on the Skype chat, and sure enough continued, and then white stayed above and created another spike, and that brought us all the way back to the zero. And then in the aftermarket, huge one right there. That's the blue one, which is just the decay of the blue MBI line, and then white crossing above it takes place, and again you get a similar effect. So it's sort of like a 1, 2, 3. It's like you look for the white crossing the red, then if it continues, and boom, the full, and you're able to stick with that decay in price as it goes through. And so it was pretty clean from that aspect. On a 50K, good buy configuration from there, and there it is right there, that cross. Last gasp, and sure enough, it's producing the exact same result. So we're off 14 now, but that looks like it will probably increase from where it is at this particular stage. So volatility from a standpoint of outside moves, even to the upside. Outside, I mean, this was plus 60 some points, only to fill back, a lot of these positive extremes, and that's where like the 44.13's marked, and I believe it goes all the way back. When we look at the previous run up, which started right about this setup right here, which right around the 44 on the money, so we're still 25 off that one, but filled nicely all of these other mid-range ones, and that's exactly what you expect. Drive it up, clear out stops, see how much volume there is there. You got a whole new set of buyers caught within that one, and that's the game all over again, just back and forth, and that's the beauty of the markets. As always, though, I will keep updating you and post relevant details on the Skype chat. Trade well. We'll talk to you later.